We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones. Hi there, my name is Tercy Engelhardt, and I want to welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. So every week, and just about every single week for 278, I think, episodes, I have been here and I'll continue to be here. I'm grateful for this opportunity to share in this way. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Thank you for allowing me to participate in your journey. I was talking to my husband on the way to the farmer's market early this morning, and I was saying, it's a broken, wounded world. And I believe that we're all here to step more fully into who we were created to be, to make more room for love in our lives, for love to flow through us. And whatever you call that process, I'm grateful to be sharing it with you. For me, because I come from an addictive lifestyle, healing from sexual abuse as a teenager, living with an eating disorder for 20 years, and now 39 years after that healing, I call that recovery. And I'm recovering some of those broken off pieces of myself that actually make me a whole being. And I do that by discovering areas of my life where I'm compensating, justifying, making up for, judging, assessing, comparing, whatever, instead of just being me, being all of me. And so that's what I'm inviting you to step into. So thank you for being here. If you want to do an individual session, you can check in on tercyengelhart.com under the topic Work Together. I love those opportunities. I had some really sweet ones this week. And I love getting to know more personally about your life, what you're going through, what you're dealing with, and then reflecting back to you what I hear and see. So thank you for that. Thank you for all of you who choose to sign up for that. Okay, so this has been an interesting week. And there's a couple of different things I want to pull from. So the title of this is, it's about trusting, learning how to trust. What does it take to trust? What are the lessons we're learning? And my husband and I had a community meeting, and we were gathering the local community, and it was really beautiful because I wanted the community to participate, not just have it coming from us. And in the course of that meeting, while we were sharing contact information and skill sets, it came up that really what's really happening is we're learning how to trust one another. So you could say this stepping more fully into who we are created to be is also trusting that process, trusting our process, trusting the process of other people's. And as we learn how to kind of accept who we are and begin to delineate what we're here for, why we're here. And so I loved that. And I just spoke up a bit and I said, I think trust is the most valuable currency and the one that perhaps we've let go of. And, even just gathering people are suspicious. What do you want? And that's all a form of mistrust. And then I spoke to a super sweet, beautiful, dear friend who's also going through her own version of recovery, along with her mom's going through her version. And we were talking about how do you trust after trust has been broken? And there's a couple of things I want to say about that before I give you another example. So again, on the way to the market, I was talking to my husband and I said, addiction is selfish, but so is recovery. And if you've listened to my previous podcast, you've heard me talk about it's actually necessary to be selfish because you're having to pull away from some mannerisms, some substance, some habitual way of being in the world to step more fully into trusting yourself, being able to make better choices. And it's challenging because, of course, the people around you who have been walking through this experience with you, they also are learning how to trust themselves. and their interpretations and their perspectives. And if there's someone that they have a broken trust relationship with, it's challenging to be able to separate what's their lesson and what's your lesson, particularly when we're both working on trusting. And I did an episode previously on who are we trusting? What are we trusting? You could go back and listen to that. But the thing that I want to point out here is what's the lesson you're learning? So this is how I look at it. If I don't trust, what's my lesson? Because we're always trusting something. So if I'm not trusting this or that, what am I trusting? And that's where you want to look. And that's great work to do this week. Or if I do trust, what's the lesson I'm learning? What lesson am I setting myself up to learn? What lesson is a part of my next step in recovery? And then, sometimes we don't like the lesson we're learning, but yet it's exactly what there is to learn. So people think they can be hurt by broken trust. Now, I get that it doesn't feel good to trust and then have the experience of being betrayed. But the reason you experience betrayal is because you care. And I believe that we all are created as caring people, and we're learning how to care even when we don't feel like it. And so mistrust or broken trust actually shows us where we care. And then we want to be able to express that care in order to be trusting again. So it's challenging. I get it. But let's see if I can give you an example. Let's see. All right. Well, okay, I'll just do something from my own life. If someone is suspicious of you, if they think that you can't be trusted, then ultimately you will act in a way that that betrays their trust, because it's kind of the setup for that. Like you're having to always prove yourself. And if they do trust you, then what happens is that side of you, that part of you that can be trusted, steps into the forefront. Now, that doesn't mean that you'll never fail again. It doesn't mean that you won't do or say or be in some way that betrays someone's trust. But all there is to do is to clean it up. And the reason you trust again is because you care. And you can't pretend that you don't care. So you might as well just be as transparent as you can. You can share, it's really difficult for me to trust you because I notice, my lesson is, I'm afraid that I'll have the experience of being betrayed again. My trust will be betrayed. And so then the lesson is, okay, so if my trust is betrayed, what's the lesson I'm learning? And you're always looking, wherever there is a reaction to something, you're looking to see, what's the lesson I'm learning? Now, I'm a little bit in the midst of that. Our daughter, one son, his wife, our daughter's husband, 6 of our grandkids live in Bandera, Texas. And last night there was a massive flood, a flash flood in Kerrville, which is the next town. And you've probably heard or read about this. And this 20-foot wave of water came through while most people were sleeping. And certainly a lot of these kids who were in this private camp along the Guadalupe River. And they're still searching for bodies. And some people are confirmed as having died, and other people haven't been found yet. And other people were evacuated. And, emotions are high. It's brought up a lot. It's easy to question why. How could this possibly happen? But I look at these situations and I say, what's the lesson? What's the lesson that there is to learn for myself? Because we're all responsible for our own growth. And what I've noticed for myself is what's really up for me right now is having compassion for other people. You guys know that I fractured my wrist. It's only been like 9 days ago, feels like forever. And I've recognized, wow, I have so much more compassion for people who are either in chronic pain or somehow inhibited from being able to use totally all their fingers, all their toes, their arms, their legs, whatever. I'm so aware of it. And it's made me slow down. It's made me have to ask for a lot of help. I watch myself get frustrated. And at the same time, I can appreciate the people that step up to help me, and I can have compassion for people who live with much more difficult injuries or situations than I am. And so that's a great way to look at whatever it is that you're being confronted by. Because as I was sharing with my friend, we're all healing. There is no someone's healing and someone's not. We all are. We're all becoming more of who we were designed and created to be. And so we're always looking for what's the lesson that's the next part of my growth and development. Now, could somebody argue, well, maybe mistrusting is a part of it? It might be. I'm not going to say yes or no for you. But then you want to look at what's the lesson that's bringing up for you? What is it teaching you? What are you seeing? What are you learning about yourself? And so that's another place you can look. The other thing that I want to share with you this week is in all relationships, in all communications, ask more questions, make less statements. So if we want to be able to understand another person's point of view or even see a new perspective that perhaps we can't see at all because we're only looking through our experience and our lens, ask more questions. Help me see what you see. Help me better understand this. What would it look like for you to have this experience? Like, ask questions rather than make more statements. Okay. So I'm not saying go out and trust. I'm saying ask yourself, what's the lesson that you're learning in either the healing power of trust or mistrusting? Just keep asking yourself, what's the lesson that I'm learning? What part of my own journey is this? And then you can share it with me. You can share it with me in the comments. You can share it with me in a chat. You can email me, however it is. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be here next week. I look forward to seeing you then. And remember, ask more questions and make more statements. And let's see if we can't be a lot more compassionate with one another. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next week, right